Hey everyone, and welcome to Catch Me Twirling. It's your baton twirling podcast in Canada. Now, today we have a local guest from Nova Scotia on today. She loves emceeing local competitions and national competitions, and she gained the passion of baton twirling at the age of 4. She was also a member of Halifax Sparklettes. Here's Gwen Watt.
Hi, Nick. Thank you so much
Hey.
for having me. Oh my gosh, what an intro.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to get you on here for a long time.
So sorry, it's all my fault, but I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere.
No worries. Now, my first question was, what got you into baton twirling?
True answer to that question was I was supposed to be going into school, but I didn't turn 5 by the right time. And I was super hyper child. And my mom, I think, just didn't want to put up with me. So she had a coworker that was making suits for her daughter at work. And she's like, "What's this for?" And she mentioned baton and she mentioned the team. And she's like, "Okay, I got to get Gwen into something." So that's how it started.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, Sparklettes, that's what was your team.
Yep.
There's no more club, right?
There's no more Halifax Sparklettes as the club currently is. I think there are lots of people that were Halifax Sparklettes that are still doing a bit of twirling around the city.
Nice, because I love watching all the twirlers from Sparklettes. They were one of my favorite teams to watch, and they were when Halifax Sparklettes and Nova Scotia Baton Trout like went to same competitions. We always sat
Yeah,
together.
I know. It was like we always had the little Nova Scotian contingent. And I mean, I think you can speak to it too. Nova Scotia was such a small community. And in hindsight, it's kind of crazy to think of how many teams there were in Halifax. Because when it was probably like peak, it was, I want to say like 90s, 2000s. And there was your team and my team. And then there were like two or three other teams. And HRM, like Halifax, where we live, like is not that big. So it was crazy to think that we had all these teams in such a small place. But I know it's like as soon as we got outside of Nova Scotia or did anything bigger, it was like all of the Nova Scotian teams and like Halifax teams were like essentially they're like these are the Nova Scotian representatives. It was like one big team. I always loved that.
For sure. No, there actually is a team starting back up. Fusion.
What? Oh
Yeah.
yes, Fusion. Yeah, yeah, I heard about that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I see in your bio you actually did the Macy's parade.
Yes. Yeah, I got to do I think it was called the All American All Stars, but it was a thing that you applied to be a part of, and they put a baton team in the Macy's parade, which was so wonderful. Like, felt like such a historic thing. When we were in the parade, Miley Cyrus was a few floats up from us. So, and we also, the whole thing was being there for the parade, but it was a whole trip to New York with a large group of twirlers. Like, I want to say, oh gosh, I don't know. There were probably like 50 to 100. I'm so sorry. I'm not good with numbers, but yeah, it was a huge contingent. And so like there was a whole New York City trip. Like we got to go to Broadway, we got to see the Rockettes. Like the whole thing was incredible and just like a highlight because oh, it was so much fun. And it was just so cool to have twirlers in the parade and to
I was gonna
perform.
say it sounds amazing. You had like a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
excursion.
I'm not gonna brag, but like it was pretty cool.
If I could do that, I would have. Now, you MC. Do you have a what do you do for your job since you love MCing?
Oh, well, you know this because we know each other outside of Baton, but I work in radio. So I do promotions and marketing for our local radio stations. And through that, and through things like Baton, like I just always had a love for performing and emceeing. So that's how I've kind of gotten to the MC gig because I've done it in like volunteer capacity, but also in a big work capacity in the past.
For sure. Now, I don't know if you can remember this because you've been a coach for a little
Oh
bit, then you were an
boy.
athlete. What
Yeah.
was your favorite competition snack?
Um, oh man. Okay, well, I think it's fair to say that this is this is a great question. If you went to like a larger competition like an AYOP, there were things there like the shaved ice that you could only get there. So like that was always amazing. But then in Baton Atlantique, they have a December competition every year where one of the family members of their staffs make I can't say it properly, but it's like frico. And it's basically just like this chicken dumpling soup. But I Loved having that.
Really?
And then yeah. And then our local competitions, like I just loved whatever local baked good they had because
Oh
every
yeah.
competition was different. Everybody had their specialty. So those were mine. What were yours? Because I'm trying to think back to the days of like what were the hot competition snacks like in Nova
So
Scotia when we were twirling.
whoever made the chili at Sparkletts hosted competition. Yep.
Yep, yeah, I had that before. Yeah.
And
Oh
then
man.
away competitions would be Wetzel's Pretzels from Tourmania.
Yes, yeah. Oh man, that whole venue always had the best food.
Which
And it's
it's
like, and that's what I'll remember the most about Baton.
well, it's not even in February anymore. It's in May now.
I heard. Now, do you know if that's a recent thing that they've
It
changed
is,
it
yes.
around?
I've
Okay.
I've reached out to them because Catch Me Twirling might travel there.
Okay, we're gonna do a pop-up.
Yep.
Nice.
Now, hmm, what was your favorite routine to do at competitions?
Oh, do you mean like solo routines or like group routines?
Any?
Oh, okay. Oh man. Well, it definitely wasn't solo because that was always stressful. I
Same
gotta say,
here.
I loved like, yeah, I loved show twirler or like, or if we were doing CBTF
That was a
freestyle.
local thing, I think, because when you go to bigger competitions like in Ontario, they don't have that there.
They don't. Yeah, they didn't have it everywhere. And I kind of get it because I mean, with the props and the music and like it would just be logistically a very tough thing to pull off. But I felt like that was the one that just truly allowed you to like I think it was the variety of things that you could
Oh,
have
yeah.
props along with baton and like really kind of show off your individual style. And I think the very first award I ever won was like first runner up, but it was for show twirler. So that one will always hold a special place in my heart.
For sure. Now, do you, hmm. 'Cause I have a favorite group routine of your guys's. What was your favorite group
Okay.
team? What was your favorite group team that ever went on the competition floor?
Oh,
And you don't
I
have to be
think
in it.
okay, cool. Well, here's the thing. I felt like our team had like some really strong twirlers in the 90s and they had some pretty like wonderful routines that they actually did for like long periods of time. But one of the ones that I loved the most was Share and the song was Strong Enough. And the reason why I love that one so much is because it was just I love the choreography, the music was amazing. But also it was at a time where like they let us practice it too. Like it was generally the older girls, but I was kind of on the cusp of like the if they needed a backup, like you know, they always kind of had like understudies and people
Yeah, I
working
was
on
gonna
it in
say
the
you were like an
background.
alternate.
Yeah. So there was always that opportunity. So I don't think I no, I definitely didn't perform the routine, but I really loved doing it and learning that choreography because it was probably just a little like on the edge of like my current skill level. So I always remember like getting to like learn new things and kind of like grow with that. So it just like felt so fun to be able to do that one. And also it was just like a fire routine to have in competition. So what was your favorite group routine?
Spice Girls. Was there this might have been an individual routine. The Lizzie Borden, was that just Becky Chisholm or was there a group routine?
Oh no, that was oh, I know what you're talking about. But I don't remember like the I know the vibe of the routine, but I
Because it
don't
was
remember because I know
amazing.
Becky yeah, Becky did a really, really good freestyle that was the same vibe, but then there was another routine I want to say that was similar as
It
well.
was,
But
yeah,
yeah, those
definitely
were
similar.
yeah. But I like that one because it really did kind of break off. It was a different feel and a different
Hmm.
game than a lot of what we normally did.
Yeah, you guys
And
always had
always,
good choreography,
yeah,
I found.
yeah. Well, listen, our director Shelley was like always out there looking for new opportunities, and I mean, involved in the dance world through her daughter Madison, and so she was just constantly soaking things up and bringing it back. So we were always super thankful to have her because she just had such a great brain for that.
Well, when she was in there and was coaching, she was fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Shelley.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you were still an athlete,
Mhm.
would you be recreational or competing?
Oh, I want to say I would. I would be happy to be recreational. But I think I would like no, but see the thing is competing is so much fun too, like going to competitions. If I could say like rec level expectations, but still to have the option to compete,
Yeah.
which pretty much sums up my whole like, twirling competitive twirling career. I would take that. But I think it's hard to parse out one from the other.
Well, yeah, I kind of have a fantasy dream to compete at Sweden this year, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, you need to start practicing soon.
Yeah. No, but yeah, where if you could compete at any country, continent in the world, where would you want to go?
Um, I mean, there's the parts of me that love the idea of wanting to compete for travel because I know when I've seen a lot of the world competitions that happen places like Italy or Europe, I have been there before and would just love to go there.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm just trying to think if there's, like a specific competition that it really doesn't come to mind. Like maybe like touring over like the west coast of the US, like going to
Oh yeah.
California, just to see because that's so far removed from what we do definitely in Eastern
Oh
Canada.
yeah.
Um, so it just to kind of see differences in twirling and just to get to kind of see those athletes that you don't always get to see. So probably somewhere there. So probably yeah, West Coast US or Europe, just for the variation. Because to me, it's more about doing the travel, but also just getting to see what twirling's like. Like seeing baton twirlers from Japan would
Oh,
be
great. They're
incredible.
crazy.
Just to soak that right, like that would be amazing. So for
Now,
tourism anywhere.
oh yeah. I know this question, but the audience doesn't. Who is a
Okay.
baton twirler that you do look up to?
Oh, without a doubt, Carissa Wimberly. Because what an embodiment of just absolute love of this sport. Like was an incredible athlete, just and so strong too. Like just the strength. I loved how strong she twirled. But then when you have playing baton with Carissa, like she's somebody that still has so much fun with the sport
Oh yeah.
and with the playing baton, like wants to share that. So to
And
me,
does
it's just like
clinics.
she oh my god, yeah, exactly. Like she just embodies the true joy of baton to me. So yeah, no contest. It's Carissa Wimberly.
Yeah. Now, as a retired athlete and a retired coach, what is one piece of advice you would tell to a athlete who's either starting baton or going to their first competition?
Oh, um, I would just say you're only competing against yourself. And I even as I say that, know that's tough advice to follow because the very nature of a competition is rooted in that people will be stacked up based on scores and there will be a gold plate of first place or gold or silver or bronze, but truly when I think back on the sport, like it was just you competing against yourself. It was just you trying to do your best. So, and I know when I was coaching later, that was something that I just tried to instill because really to me, baton, I get elite level athletes. There are goals that they want to hit. And there's so many amazing accomplishments that are 100% worth working for. But I think for every baton twirler, even if they don't have that elite level, what it really is like you are just there to do your best and you are just there to like make your best effort and accomplish what you want to accomplish, whether that is like winning a gold medal at Worlds or whether that is like bringing your score up by point 0.5. So to me, that true thing of you're just competing yourself, you just need to do your best, I think is the best thing that anybody could have because really you can't control what other people are going to do. You can only control what you're going to do. And if you want to enjoy baton for what it is, like that's got to be the focus point and everything that comes with that.
I've never thought of it like that. That's
I didn't
like
think of it until way later in life. So I would have loved to have known that going through, you
like
know?
for me, yeah, no, like anyone on the podcast I've asked advice for has never said anything like that. So honestly, that is amazing.
Well,
Um,
I'm glad I can offer it.
I have nothing to say. Like that was really good. Um, how, in your opinion, how much should a baton costume cost?
Oh my God. Such a oh man. Like 250?
Good luck.
Because I get it. I think,
Yeah.
you know, especially inflation.
Before the rhinestone, though.
And yeah, truly. Because also, I will say, coming from the daughter of a person who made like so many people's baton costumes, it is a custom piece of art. And I know when my mom used to make them, it was like going, person tries it on, like do the measurements, rework the measurements. Like it is a
Oh yeah.
hard job. So I know like whoever is making those competition suits deserves to be fairly
Oh yeah.
compensated. But I guess overall, like I think that one of the things I love the most about baton, especially like where we live in Nova Scotia, you know, it's better to not have an economic barrier. Things are so expensive. And what I always loved about Baton here was that it was not really cost prohibitive. So I think that if you can find kind of like that middle ground of like, yeah, make it nice, but it doesn't have to be insane. Like it very performing in it, then I don't know questions. I just say like maybe 250. Because even though that still seems like a lot. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I think as long as it
See,
accomplishes what it's needed, it doesn't have to be full rhinestone on top of the nude. Like there can be
right.
pieces that aren't rhinestones or liquid sequin, which I feel maybe isn't as much of a thing anymore. But it doesn't have to be covered head to foot. You know, the judge is not rhinestones. They're counting for drops. So just finding that in between.
Well, I get mine for cheaper. Grandmother makes them for me,
Yeah.
so I don't have to pay the 250.
And that's fine. You know, work those connections. There's nothing wrong with that.
No. Well, yeah, honestly though. Well, that's actually all the time we have today on Catch Me Twirling.
Okay.
Again, Gwen, thank you for coming on. I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Well, I hope I lived up to it, but thank you, Nick. I really appreciate being on and getting to chat about Baton. I love it so much.
Anytime.
Okay, I'll be back next week.
Have a great one.
Okay, see you later.